What's going on, guys? So it is Saturday the 28th of July, and I just got back from Virginia with my family for vacation, and now I am heading up to Akron, Ohio to hang out with Dan from Tidal Gardens at the summer barbecue event that he's hosting. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a 5.5 hour drive up there, so yeah, not the most pleasant drive, but shouldn't be that bad. But I'm looking forward to hanging out with a lot of you guys up there, a lot of the other YouTubers up there, and having a good time. So see you guys when I get there. Yeah, in Ohio. Yeah. Do you feel the vibes? What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So if you weren't aware, I haven't been putting out any content for the last 3 weeks, and that is as a result of me not being available. I was away doing some military training for 2.5 weeks, and then I was away for a little bit of a vacation time with the family. So now that I am back with the tank, I wanted to give you guys a really quick overview of the tank and what's going on with it. I have changed a couple little things, but not enough to where it won't give you guys a good idea of the status of the tank. So heading right into that, I came home. As you can see, the glass has not been cleaned. I will be addressing that with a razor blade and scraping away all this algae and all this other stuff that's all over the front glass and making it look decent again. I'm gonna go through each one of the rock clusters so that way you guys can get an idea of the coral that's on those rock clusters and the overview of how they're doing. So starting over to the far right, which is my encrusting coral rock, and everything's doing decent, no real growth, nothing that I can see at least, and I attribute that to the light, and I will be addressing that in a little bit. So the gorgonian right here did fall. As you can see, you see the tips are all white and kind of died off. That's because they were stuck in the sand and kind of took a little bit of a beating, and I reattached them for now. That way I can preserve what's left of the coral and not have it suffer just for the sake of video. But everything else on there is alive. They're holding steady, but they are not growing. And like I said, I attribute that to the light, which I will be addressing. Moving back to the Euphilia rock, everything is doing well. There was one Euphilia that was not doing well. It was a frog spawn, but I had removed it prior to leaving, and it's back there on the frag rack. If you look right underneath that torch, it's kind of right there. But everything on there is doing really well. I can't complain. I have a lot of good growth out of the Euphilia. No real complaints, but I will be, like I said, addressing my light issue and flow issue, and doing a lot of water testing. That way I know exactly the status of my tank, and I know exactly what I need to do moving forward. Moving to the front here with the Montipora caps, everything is doing well. Most of them are growing. The colors are a lot more vibrant now that their health of them are definitely improving, except for this Tropic Thunder Montipora that I picked up from Reefapalooza. I thought it was doing well, but it's actually not. Only about a tiny little fraction on the left side is still alive, and I might try moving it up so that it can get some more light. Maybe that guy requires a little bit more light, and we shall see how it does from there. But other than that, the red Monty cap's encrusting. The green Monty cap is beautiful and vivid bright green. I believe that's a slow burn, and it's starting to look really nice. Really nice coloration, and it's starting to grow back over some of the dead spots as we speak. So moving behind that, you can see my rainbow torch has doubled in size. This thing is growing so rapidly, and I love it. It's looking great. To the right of it is a gold/yellow tip hammer, and that thing looks amazing. I can't complain. Definitely a really nice piece. Looks a little greener with the Polyp Lab Evolve lens, orange lens, and the way my lighting's just situated right now. But you guys have seen it before. It's definitely on the yellower slash goldish side. The green hairy mushroom behind that, which is kind of hard to see, is looking fantastic. Definitely doubled in size since I've been away, and it's looking great. It also seems to have leveled itself out, so I was initially planning on removing it, but it seems like I might not need to since it resituated itself. Moving over to the main rock, to the right corner here, you can see that is a Untitled that I picked up from Reefapalooza, and that thing is doing great. It's starting to encrust over the frag plug, and polyps are really extending out now. Before it was like 2, 3, 4 polyps. Now it's, can't even count how many that are doing well and extended. The branching Duncan is not really enjoying itself right there. I am going to move it. I think I need to, move it down a bit. I think it's just getting a little bit too much light there. It's not opening up, and that one in the back is particularly starting to change color, losing its vibrancy, and I think that it's definitely not liking that spot. So that's on the list of things to be moved. Moving down here is an acan, and that thing is doing okay. It's starting to look like it's getting a little bit of some type of debris on it, and I don't really like that, so I'm going to try to address that and clean everything up and see how everything does. To the left of that rock was this kind of miscellaneous slash polypy rock right here. As you can see, the Duncan is doing great. I did change the flow around, which I'll address in a little bit, but you can see all the multiple heads on there. I started with 2 heads. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to say 6 or 7 new heads on here since I got this thing a couple months ago, maybe around 2-3 months ago, and it's doing really well. The Montipora back there is doing really nice. Really still loving its spot, extending its polyps really well. No real issues with that guy. Never really had any. Very beautiful coral that I picked up from Reefapalooza. Below that is a clove polyp, and that clove polyp is looking fantastic. I believe it's a rainbow clove polyp, and no real issues. They're not growing as much as I would like to see it, but overall it's doing really well, and I can't really complain. Now this is a big issue, and I have multiple spots of this. As you can see, this hair algae was a little bit when I left, and now it is a ball, and that's kind of a problem. I am going to get in here and remove some of it by hand, and believe it or not, there's a blue sympodium under there. I'll show you guys a before and after so that you guys can see what the tank looked like before I left. And I kind of attribute this to maybe a little bit heavy feeding from my tank caretakers, but I don't think it's any real issue. I am going to employ a tail spot blenny that should help once I minimize most of this algae removal by hand, and it should be able to take care of the rest. The branching SBS back here, everything's doing pretty good. The blue Milka stylo is fantastic. Right now it's not as open as it normally is because I just fed the tank with some I believe Reef Frenzy, the powder based food, and so all the corals are kind of feeding right now, but this thing is looking fantastic. Really got its purple back. If you didn't know, I almost lost this guy and actually made a full recovery. Green Digi still growing really slow. No real change with it except for the fact that its coloration is looking really nice. Blue Mint Bird's Nest looking good. No real issues, no real growth. The Bird of Paradise, which is right here, started to die off a little bit, but since I've been away, it seems to have stabilized itself and it's actually coming back and looking great. Behind that, this little guy here is dead. That was a green bird's nest, and I'll be removing that. And behind that is an Acropora that was practically dead a couple months ago, and and there it is now, looking probably one of the most beautiful corals in the tank. Now you can see some of my Montipora / Silophores. I'm not really sure which is which, but no polyp extensions. They're kind of just holding steady, and I don't really like that. So I think that again has to do with light and flow, and I will be addressing that as soon as possible. The green Pavona back here did fall off. I reattached it, but it's hanging in there. It's still looking okay. Definitely not as happy as being that it was in the ground, in the sand, and you know, not doing well, but I expected to make a full recovery. Pink bird's nest started to lose some of that, however it's starting to bring itself back. I do have a Panape bird's nest, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, on its way, but I look forward to that, hopefully surviving and doing well. And if that's the case, that's going to be it for bird's nest for me. I won't be buying any more bird's nests, and I'm just going to let this rock pretty much grow out. I am looking for a bubblegum digi and a, I believe, forest fire digi. And I think that will be majority it for that, that rock. The Azora rock, everything's doing decent. As you can see, a lot of stretched out. That means I'm just not getting the par these guys need over to the left. And I will be addressing that. Like I said, the plan is to raise my Radion for now until I get my new, until I get my new light fixture. But until then, you know, that's what I'm going to do. I have some of this hardware and stuff like that, getting ready to do that as we speak. The jawbreaker mushroom is a goner. Don't know what happened to it. I don't believe it's in the cup, so the cup's coming out. The clam, this is a squamosa clam. It's not as healthy as when I first bought it. I just moved it. It was before it was back in this corner. It just wasn't getting enough light. Moved it front and center. It's starting to show, you know, if I wave my hand, it's not really doing much, so you can see what I mean with the health. There it goes. But it's just not doing as well as I wanted to, so I'm going to start feeding. Feeding this guy, you know, every so often and a couple times a week until he regains his health. But I think he'll make a full recovery. Moving over here, my little mushroom rock. I have another mushroom, but I'm not sure I'm putting it on this rock. The St. Thomas is growing slow right now. I just don't think it's really loving this spot. However, this mushroom that I picked up from Reefapalooza from Roscoe's Reef, it's actually doing really well. It actually about doubled in size. Like I said, the tank is not looking as impressive as when I first got here because I have stuck my hands in the tank, and you know, things react when you do that. But when I first got here, no one had really stuck their hands in the tank for about a week, and the tank was doing fantastic. My little toadstool, this one is doing fantastic. You know, it's really loving that spot, and I expect to see some real good growth out of it. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Some real good growth out of it. And I did move my other one to the back because it was just not happy there. But that's a general overview for the tank. This, believe it or not, is not just a shell. It's actually a hermit crab, and I have a really nice story behind that I'm going to do in a separate video, so that you guys can, so I can explain myself on that one, why there's a giant shell laying in my tank. But other than that, everything went smooth. No real issues with the tank. I can't complain. All the fish are here. All the fish are really healthy, really happy. You can see the yellow chorus wrasse as well as the blacker ice clown. Now, unfortunately, I don't believe these two clowns are going to they're going to end up pairing up, but they do tolerate each other, and you know, they coexist just fine as long as they're happy and fed. Now the skunk clowns are great. That anemone, it's just not doing what I wanted to do. I'm really struggling with the anemones. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a full water test on this tank as it sits. I'm going to do a full test, salinity. I'm going to do, you know, phosphate, calcium, alkalinity, magnesium. I think my dosing pump is going out, so I am going to be buying a new one. But other than that, I'm going to do a big 50% water change, and then I'm going to retest the water as well as test my batch of salt water, so that way I know just where everything stands and exactly what I need to do moving forward. Moving down in the sump, the maroons are doing great. Everyone's alive in here, no real issues. The algae is taking off. You can see that. The algae is doing great, and I'm loving it. Some stuff acclimating here, but the clown, my say black, and my coral banded shrimp are doing great. Moving over here, a lot of maintenance is happening here. Gonna be changing out this floss, cleaning out the skimmer as well as the filter sock. I'm changing up some equipment in here, and you know, I'm just gonna let you guys know in separate videos of what's going on with the tank. But pretty much today is just gonna be a lot of cleaning, maintenance, water changes, and I'll let you guys know what's new in the tank, what's happening, what I picked up and stuff like that in separate video. So I just wanted you guys to see what happens when you haven't touched your tank for 2 weeks, and I will do a before and after. I'll do a little clip of before I left and the situation in my tank. And you know, sometimes really good things happen and sometimes not so good things happen while you're away, but luckily nothing catastrophic happened and I can't complain. My caretakers did a really good job while I was away, and I do have some more coral coming in, some more equipment coming in, so I do plan on definitely upgrading this tank a little bit in terms of equipment, in terms of lighting distribution and flow distribution. So thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you guys for watching the video. Thank you for all the love, all the new subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming by and you know, supporting me, so that I can keep doing this for you guys. And you know, if, like I always say, you know, if you want to do it, do it. You might like it, you might not, but you'll never know until you try. So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be addressing that situation this week, and yeah, we'll see if we can get this tank to where it's truly supposed to be. So thank you guys for coming by. You guys have a good one.